Hello everyone, welcome back to the forge. Now today we're going to be forging out a railroad spike knife. Now I got these spikes here. These are brand new spikes. I ordered them off of eBay. But being new spikes, since they haven't been driven into anything, they have this flashing here on the end. First thing we're going to do is take this to the grinder and knock that off so it don't fold over and cause us trouble down the road whenever we're forging our blade. So let's get the forge lit up, let's get this tossed in and get to work. Alright, now while our spike is getting up to temperature, I'm going to go ahead and kind of explain what I'm going to be doing. Now most usually when you see a railroad spike knife forged, they come in and they do the twist first and then forge out the blade. I don't do it that way, and here's the reason why. If I forge this twist in or put this twist in first and then I go ahead and forge out this blade, once I do that, I'm more liable to come in and ding that twist up on the edge of the anvil as the spike knife is hot. And I don't really want to do that, don't really want to make that mistake, because it makes it pretty disheartening when you get a whole blade forged out and you come back and you have all these dings and notches in your twist on your handle. So what I like to do first is I like to isolate where the blade's going to be. Now I'll leave probably about 2.5 inches, 3 inches, probably about 3 inches down here, so it just depends where the handle will be, because we're going to reduce the thickness of that and draw our handle out longer. And once we put the twist in there, it'll be plenty big enough. But I like to work on the blade portion first, so I can focus on drawing that blade out, getting the width in there, getting the shape that we want before turning the attention to making the twist. Another good thing is once you forge that blade out, you clamp it in the vise, you put your twist in, do a little bit of straightening, and your knife is pretty much finished. To where, like I said, you start out with a twist in there, you're liable to ding it up. To each their own though. Some people may like to do the twist first, may not ever have any trouble with it. I don't trust my forging abilities that much. I'm still learning and still growing every single day. So I found this way works best for me. So it's the way that I'm going to do. Practice, test things out, experiment. You may find out you like the twist first and to forge the blade out. So let's go ahead. The spike's almost at the temperature. Let's go ahead and get to work. Also come up here to the horn of your anvil and help draw the length out of your blade as well. Alright, it's at this point right here that I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention back here to what will become the handle of the knife. Now, you can't see it in that part of the video. The heel of my anvil right here, the heel of my anvil is about the width of my hand. So if I lay this up here and look at it, I can see that it's not quite, the handle's not quite long enough like it should be. So we're going to go ahead and heat the handle portion up next and draw it out to the length that should be comfortable in my hand. Then we'll turn our attention back to the blade. That looks pretty good there. I'm going to turn my attention back here to the blade, try to draw out a little bit more length, and then we'll move on to forging the blade profile. Alright, at this point right here you can kind of see our knife shape coming into form. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come right into this area right here and draw down the choil of the knife. We're going to keep hitting right here at this where we want to form our choil with glancing blows with our hammer, and just draw that down into a lobe. That'll be the starting portion of what will become our blade. Pretty much like that right there. Next, we'll switch our attention over to the spine, start thinning the spine out, which will naturally curve the blade down. Then we will come back and forge our bevels on the bottom, which will bring the blade back up. Alright, now at this point right here, you can pretty much grind this and shape a knife or forge out the tip. Just go over to the edge of the handle and with a sweeping, glancing motion, just go ahead and form the tip of the knife. You see how it's forging that in there? That point right there, we basically got a knife. If you didn't want to do the twist in the handle and wanted to go straight to the grinder, you could grind this to shape real easy. Alright, at this point here, we're ready to go ahead and put the twist in our handle. So I'm going to toss it back in and get it up to temperature, and we'll throw it in the vise and get the twisting. I'm going to do a little straightening right quick, make sure everything's in line. Alright, at this point right here, we're pretty much done with the forging process of this railroad spike knife. Now the next thing I get asked all the time is about quenching. Should I use oil? Should I use water? Railroad spikes, even the high carbon spikes, still don't have the carbon content of like your high carbon steels. So water is the best route to go all the way across the board. I just quench in cold water. I don't do a temper cycle because it's entirely unnecessary, because the carbon content's not high enough to actually make these brittle enough that they'll break like glass like other high carbon steels do. So we're going to heat it up to right at a red or a little above a red, and we're going to stick it in the bucket over here of water. And once it's done cooling off, we'll take it over to the grinders and clean it up, get some bevels on it, do the profile grinding, and then we'll move on to cleaning it up with the wire wheel on the grinder. Alright, now we're going to grind this handle area right here and get it cleaned up before we move in and finish up the blade. It just saves us one extra step at the end. I like to use these right here for that. This is just a wire wheel attachment, a wire cup wheel for the angle grinder. This saves me a ton of waste on belts and everything else. I was using surface conditioning belts to clean up the handle prior to using these, and this would just eat those belts up, even the coarse ones. So we're going to go ahead and use this. Remember, proper safety equipment. You need safety glasses. A respirator would be best. Working with a grinder, you probably need to wear a leather apron or some sort of protection, because these things can jump back. And when they jump back and hit you, it's not going to be fun. Never mind the fact that all these little pieces of wires become projectiles that get slung out as well. There's been countless times when I've been too stubborn to wear my apron, that I've had to pick these wires out of my legs where they've shot through my pants. So let's get this plugged up, get this cleaned up, and then we'll get this knife finished up. And there you have it, our finished up railroad spike knife. Fun little project, nice little novelty item to give away at a birthday or at as a Christmas gift. Also, these do really well on Etsy. It's a nice way to make some extra money to buy yourself some better equipment in your shop, some better steels and stuff. These do not replace high carbon knives. I'm not saying that these are a replacement for high carbon knives in any shape or form, but I mean, they're cool to look at. I appreciate you for joining us. If you would hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we will be appearing on Forged in Fire this coming Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, Season 7, Episode 29. I'll be competing with Scott Powers, Steve Katz, and Mark Bean. You can find those guys on Instagram and Facebook. They're stand-up guys, great guys. If you would check it out, it'd be really cool. If you would hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.